I've heard Bitcoin be referred to as the apex predator several times, so I thought it would be cool to rank all Bitcoiners based on predator, because I think that people who are holders, they're not typical, they're not your normie, they're not your typical person that you see every day. So I just thought that would be a cool concept to show you, and so that you can see where do you rank in the Bitcoin food chain. Also, why is this important? And I'll talk about that as well after I show you the rankings. When we're talking about these ranks, I want you to think about globally, how many people are there in the world? There's around 106 million, okay, own Bitcoin. That's it. So you might be surprised at just how rare your rank falls. Okay, so let's check out this food chain. If you have 0.1 Bitcoin, congrats, you're a millionaire, just like that. Awesome. That's actually, you are a millionaire of Satoshis. So you're the top 9%, and that makes you a falcon. So you have taken off the ground, you're flying, and you're ahead of most of the flock, or most of the people. At 0.28 Bitcoin, you are in the top 5%, and you are in an elite group. You are part of a rare pack. Half a Bitcoiner, you're top 4%, you're rare and fierce. And then if you have a whole Bitcoin, then you are a polar bear. You thrive in scarcity, harsh environments, and there's actually fewer polar bears in the world than there ever will be people with 1 Bitcoin. So I thought that was a pretty cool fact. 5 Bitcoin, you are a crocodile. So you are definitely a survivor, you're patient and strategic, just like long-term holders have to be. And then 10 Bitcoin, you are beating well over 99% of addresses, and you're a lion. So you're the king of the Bitcoin jungle. You're the true apex predator. My channel is new. If you found this interesting, I'd really appreciate if you could show some support by hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. So I want to talk about why this matters to you. There's 2 reasons, and from what I see, there's scarcity and there's liquidity, and that's something that makes Bitcoin very powerful. So there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist. So think about how rare that is and how it stacks against the rest of the world who doesn't have any Bitcoin. Just think about the amount of people just in the United States. There are about 347 million people. Not everyone's going to be able to get 1 Bitcoin. Yeah, you can break up Bitcoin into Satoshis. Say you take all the Satoshis that exist and they're broken up evenly, and every person on Earth would have some. But that's only if they were divided equally, which we know is not going to happen. There's just all these individuals, there's companies, the governments are buying all kinds of different amounts. They're trying to buy up as much as they can. And then of course you have the lost Bitcoin that you can't even access or that's locked up. So 21 million, it sounds like a lot, but even if you think about like how many houses there are. So just think of California, the state of California alone. There's 14 million houses there. And then in the US, there's 147 million single family homes. So just kind of put that in perspective. The amount of Bitcoin doesn't equal how many households there are in the United States. And how does this stack up against other assets? So let's look at it compared to the dollar. Okay, the inflation, it's destroying the dollar's value over time. There's this infinite supply of money, of fiat money, but there's always only that limited supply of Bitcoin. What about comparing Bitcoin to gold? You have to store gold in your house. You have to find a buyer. You could break it up into whatever amount you want to spend or sell, but how are you going to break that up? It's not that easy to take a gold bar. Where are you going to melt it? Are you going to somehow cut that? Like, how does that work? It's just not easy. And then you have to get it to them. You have to prove that it's real. So there's all these steps that doesn't make it as simple as just buying and selling a digital asset. You have stocks. Stocks are not limited. They can create more stocks. They can create more shares, split the stock. So it's just not really considered rare. We talked about scarcity, And what about liquidity? Stocks are liquid, yes, but like I said, they're not really scarce. You have paintings, they have scarcity, but they're not liquid. So you'd have to find somebody who would want to buy it from you, figure out how to get it to them, make sure it's insured, hope it doesn't get damaged. And if you own paintings or you own art, you also have to think about make sure it doesn't get damaged or lost in your own household or wherever you're keeping it. So maybe you need to keep it in a vault, but then you don't get to enjoy it either. I think that it's a great asset, it's valuable, but it's just not liquid. Even real estate, it's not easy to sell at all, especially right now. You possibly have an HOA to pay, definitely have taxes, insurance, maintenance. Then you have to find the right buyer if you do want to sell and get money out of that. But if you have $10 million of Bitcoin, you can sell it instantly. I think that in the future, even owning 0.01 Bitcoin could mean financial freedom for a lot of people. Just look at where we've come from when Bitcoin was born and think about like in 10 years, even just 10 years, at the rate that it is being adopted right now by institutions, by government, that's really going to make a huge difference. And I think that it's going to start getting more and more rapid as we go. Where do you rank in the food chain? Do you feel happy with what you've accomplished? Are you going to try to get more? I do think that every Satoshi counts. So I think the biggest danger is not being low on the pyramid, but just not doing anything at all and making the choice to just step away. Because if you're not on this food chain as a predator, then you're the prey. And so you're not even going to be there. Who wants to be prey? Subscribe to my channel. Next week, I will be talking about how we can climb up that Bitcoin food chain.